Sorry about that. Apparently, you can only do an hour's live on IGTV before it cuts you off. Sorry, we just add Michael just to wrap up the video. Bear with me. Hopefully, he's back. I know he needs to get away shortly. And I don't want to take too much of his time. Sorry, mate. Apparently, you can only do an hour's worth of live on Instagram now, and then they cut you off.
I thought the dogs had got you.
Slightly savage. Sorry, mate. We cut you off mid-flow as well. You was in beautiful form now.
Love the German stuff. There's every chance it could come. It's really interesting aircraft. Getting the paint representation right, the markings is a real challenge, and we love that challenge. So there's every possibility.
Cool. I won't keep you much longer, mate. Just a couple of minutes. Just give me some suggestions. You don't have to answer all of them, but just some of the ones that have been suggested. A lot of Aussie stuff mentioned. So Waltzing Matilda 100 up Halifax of the Royal Australian Air Force for next year's RAAF 100. Also 100 up tonight an Aussie Lancaster, that was mentioned. Somebody's mentioned a Boscombe Down, Lynx and Wessex. So we all like the Raspberry Ripple scheme now. That was P51D, so we mentioned that. He's also mentioned about SAR scheme, so how about a Belgian or Norwegian and AEW? I don't know what an AEW is, to be honest with you. Are you any?
Yes, it's got the little radar bag that comes down from the fuselage.
Okay, the massive bulge thing.
Yeah.
So that was mentioned as part of the obviously historic helicopters. I know I don't want you to answer all these, but I thought I'd try and get as many out of this. Really, one that I would echo. Robert John 5. It says crying out for an RAF B-17. Yes, please. That would be lovely at some point. I know I wasn't a massive user, but lots of people talk about it. And of course, I know the B-17 mold's getting older, but my word, it is the nuts. The last one, Flak Eater, was beautiful, and I cannot wait for Mi Amigo. So I'm just looking through as many questions of these.
They're all yeses. They're all things that we've looked at. They're all things that we've discussed. So don't despair. It's just the fact that there's only a finite number that we can put in there, and but we'll get round to them, and we do take notice. I mean, one thing that I will say, just coming back to you guys, is the fact that we do take notice, and maybe if you engaged with us, so we've got a new. We've got a new assistant brand manager called Meg who started, and she's keen to get everybody involved. So, she said to everybody, sign up on our official Instagram page, and, certainly take the Diecast Diaries blog and get in touch with us, because we'd love for you to be more involved in things like that. Show us your collections for guys who, I know they probably won't be watching this, but for guys who are into James Bond or they're into, trucks, show us your collections. Let us know what makes you tick and stuff like that.
She's watching. She's just commented on there. Hello, Megan. Obviously, I sneakily followed her on the page because he told me who she was. I Instagram stalked her, so I apologise. Only because Michael told me to, so it's his fault. But hello, Megan. But sort of tying into that, someone has actually put on there on the model forum, Sil Danny, would Corgi consider a collector's poll yearly with the winner put into production? And I don't know whether that might work in the main brand, but I know eventually we'd like to see the Corgi Collectors Club come back, which I will leave that to you in a minute. But is that doable?
No, in a word, because that's another short answer. Because it's not practical. We have to have all those discussions about viability. I mean, it could very well be about if the model that they wanted to see in there, we couldn't scan one, or there wasn't access to plans that we could rely on as being accurate. Then it's going to make it a non-starter, because obviously any work that you do around that it's not going to be accurate enough. So we could never ever commit ourselves to something like that. One thing that we will say is that it's always interesting to see what you guys are looking for, and what things the majority of aviation archive collectors would certainly love to see. So we do our own polls as part of the Diecast Diaries blog, and we're certainly interested to see what you guys come out with. And I think there's some usual suspects that appear at the top, but we could never, because I mean, if you think about it, if we did that, it could be hijacked. There could be somebody for spurious reasons that might put a certain thing in there, and we'd end up with some real ugly duckling,
and of course, and that's one of the things. I know Gary's just commented about the Silver Spitfire. That'd be a great aircraft to do as well with a story that's relevant. You know, the one that just went around the world, the one at Goodwood.
Yeah.
The ex-Mickey, was it? I think it was a Donald Duck? No, it was a Mickey Mouse Spitfire. I think it was when it was at Duxford. It was a Dutch one. Was it MH424?
It was in that funny green scheme, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. Yeah, with the knackered rudder and the old decayed wooden propellers. But yeah, no, the Silver Spitfire would be a lovely aircraft. I know Gary's done a Code 3 or a kit build on one of his, and it looks really nice. But again, that might tie in with a retooled, MH424. Look at me. Look, I got it right, man. Look, I'm useless with serials as well. So I don't actually think it was actually MH424. I think it was painted MH424, but I don't know. It all gets confusing when it gets to serials. I just know an aircraft is an aircraft. Look, I don't know if Dan is still on the thing, because I know I was wanting to play one of Dan's videos, but if you could ask the question through the comments, that'd be good. But just to sort of summary, sort of end of the summary, is that thank you so much for doing this. I know it's a first for you, and I know it's put you on the spot, and it's, you know, there's lots of people watching you, giving the answers you have to give. But, you know, I really appreciate you doing this, and if it's something we can do further down the line, you know, great. You know, I can't thank you enough from myself, Gary, and Dan, because you've just given us more insight tonight than probably we've had into Corgi in the last 10, 15 years or whatnot. One question I didn't ask, which was quite a valuable.
Oh, this is it. This is the $2 million question. This is the
$1 million question. It's not your favorite. It's not your favorite pair of pants, whatever you like. So don't worry about that. One of the things that's come up quite a lot, and I thought I'm putting you on the spot here, is that Corgi obviously went from 2 catalogues a year to 1 catalogue a year. Yes. Lots of people, because that was, you know, like for me, like every 6 months I was like, expression, a kid in a candy shop. I was going to use a pig in something else now. You know, it's like correcting myself. But is there logic to that, or is there? Will you think it will come back when you because the runs are less now, aren't they? So you're talking there 1,000 or if not 2,000 runs, rather than. Now, the example I would give is that I bought the Lancaster Battle Britain Memorial Flight set, and when I opened it up, there was like 5,600 of them produced, and I was like, my God, those days are gone. So obviously the 1,000 runs, is it practical to do it twice a year? Because it's sort of a lot of excitement now all at the end of the year, rather than, and it's forgotten about because other manufacturers release them on a monthly or 2-month basis. Can you try and make a question out of that? Because I've lost my way massively.
No, I'm all over it. You're all right. It's a difficult one because logistically, catalogue time is horrendously busy for everybody. We are quite a small team, if the truth be told, and pulling all that together is really difficult. Doing it once a year is more manageable. You're right that when we used to do it from a Corgi basis half yearly, it gave you two flag waving opportunities. But the one thing I will say to you that yes, we have moved to annual catalogue now, but my boss does reserve the right that if he wants to introduce some models mid-year, then he does reserve the right to do that. So it's not beyond the realms of fantasy that we might decide to announce models mid-catalogue, shall we say.
Okay, that's brilliant. I think that's, I like I said, that time of year, waiting all the way to December and then the early January release, I mean, it creates me a lot of work because I usually do a bit of a review on it and stuff like that. But I also just think it just creates that excitement middle of summer. We're all going on holidays and stuff like that, and then bam, there's more models there as well. I don't know how it works for people's budgets, because with a year you know exactly to a degree what's coming out in Q1, Q2, Q3, Q4, so you can put your money aside. And then you think you're getting somewhere, and then wham, 20 new models turn up. You're like, don't quite know I'm going to do this. But it's one of the things, I think, just to echo that and get that across to you, it's one of the things that I looked on the forum the other night, and I know I didn't put it on here, and I feel like I'm absolutely putting it to you tonight. But I think it's something that a lot of Corgi fans in particular, because of the other brand that releases them every bloody month, it's sort of seen as, that's why you get the fanboys go to them, and it's difficult to get excited when you know 6 months ago the same stuff's coming out, if that makes any sense. Yeah,
no, as well as it being an impulse purchase, realistically, a diecast collectible, it's also a considered purchase. And when you've got the catalogue and, you know, you've got the excitement in January when the new range comes out, then things tend to settle down, and because you've got the the release schedule, you can take your time, decide which ones you're going to go for there. And the onus on us is to make sure that we produce the right themes and the right models and execute them properly, so that you guys feel that that you'd like to have them in your collection. And that it is a challenge, whether with the annual catalogue, it's the way that we're going at the moment. Those are decisions that are taken a bit higher up the food chain than me, and we just support that the best way that we can. But obviously, I mean, if you guys and your what do we call them, viewers? Do we call them?
I suppose they're technically viewers, followers.
Yeah. Well, if they, please do get in touch with us. Let us know what you think. All this feedback is really valuable, and we do listen. And the beauty of this is the fact that you guys are really really pleasant and user friendly. And this has been I was dreading it a little bit, I must admit, but it's been quite a pleasant experience. That might be down to your new T-shirt or your presentation style, but it's been great. And
I won't show you how much I'm sweating underneath it. It's got really hot in this kitchen all of a sudden.
Well, the beauty of it is that I'm not against doing this again in the future potentially. So I'm glad
you've enjoyed it as well, mate. And I know, obviously, without giving too much away, you are the guinea pig. You've been thrown under the bus. A little bit by us, naturally, and I can't appreciate you enough doing this. You're really proud. Actually, as a page, it's something we set up. It's just a bit of fun to show our collection. It's got a lot bigger than we ever envisaged, but to actually have the brand that got us excited about the hobby engaging with us, and people who have managed to tag along and follow us all over these years, it's brilliant, because that's all we want. We want Corgi to be successful. Because if you're not successful and something goes awry, we don't get a hell of a lot of models or a lot of enjoyment again that keeps us occupied and keeps me out of trouble. So I say keeps me out of trouble every time another one comes in. But no,
I'm just to say, if it's any consolation, I'm just to say I get in just as much trouble. But no, I mean it's a fantastic hobby, and I mean ultimately, you guys are important to us, and it's not a loving. I mean we're not beyond criticism, and constructive criticism is valuable for everybody. But one thing I would like to say to you and the people that follow you is the fact that we do listen and we do take notice. It's not. The things that you say, even though we rarely do this type of thing, we do take notice of what our audience are concerned about and would like to see. So, no suggestion's a bad suggestion, and keep them coming.
I think just before we wrap up, James Foster has just said, if Corgi aren't successful, we have to talk to our wives. And I think that's probably...
Yeah, well, every time there's a knock on the door, I hope the missus is either out or she's doing something, because I'm in big trouble.
Look, just to finish up, thank you so much for your time, mate. I know it's obviously run over a little bit and we cut you off unexpectedly, and we played a video you couldn't hear. But it's brilliant. It's been a really enjoyable hour, and from my point of view, hopefully everyone who's been watching it has enjoyed it as well. And they've got a lot of answers that they probably never envisaged to get in the first place. So thank you so much, mate. We're going to let you get on with the rest of your evening. Go and enjoy Love Island. Try not to,
thanks.
When I say enjoy it, I mean you'll get to sleep really quick. But no, thanks, mate. Really appreciate it. Have a cracking week. I'm sure I'll speak to you in the next couple of days anyhow.
Yeah, brilliant. Thank you very much.
Thanks, mate. Really
been enjoyable.
Cheers, guys. Thanks for watching. Have a good night. Take care. Bye-bye.
See you now. Bye-bye.
Bye.